Hello and welcome to Layback with Betfair. I'm Tom Haylock. Big shoes to fill. Luke White is an omission. We've gone to the drawing board. We've gone to the selection table. We've ended up with the Salts, the Sultan, Dave Strehlau. As I welcome you in, how are you, mate?
Tom, very good to be here, mate, and really looking forward to getting stuck into some of this form.
Can't wait for it, mate. It's a huge weekend of racing. We've got the Goodwood, we've got the Doomben Cup, a couple of favourites and very wet weather in Queensland that we might be pretty keen to take on as well. We've got the lay-bin. I can't wait for that. Hope you're up to date with all things happening on this show. But are you as angry as Luke White? You're probably not, but you got anything to put in the lay-bin straight off the bat?
I'm pretty aggressive, mate. I'm pretty aggressive, so don't sell me short. I'm going to put deductions as a whole and the schedule of deductions in the lay-bin. And I think it's time in 2022 for us to get a schedule of deductions that goes across the board for all bookmakers. Yep. If I use race 8 on the Kenzo yesterday as an example, you've got 44 cents to 33 cents total deductions, and every bookmaker has something different in between.
Yep.
It's a matter, they think that they need some sort of Mensa meeting to get together and make it. Just make a table, agree on it, and implement it. Can't be that hard. That's got to go in the lay-bin,
Did you find the winner?
No.
No.
Nah, but I got a good price though.
Well, beating SP's made part of the story. You can hedge on Betfair as well.
Absolutely.
Obviously, the election's coming up. Head to betfair.com.au for all things the election. There's been $6.2 million traded already on the election market, Australian federal election. Labor, $1.57. We've got plenty on the hub as well. Are you into the politics, mate?
Oh, they're pretty short, Labor. They were short last year and got rolled. But I wonder if ScoMo burying that kid playing soccer in Tasmania was a defining moment in the election. I wonder if they'll drift on the back of that.
Funny you mention that, because I'm putting Prime Ministers playing sport in the lay-bin. It shouldn't happen.
They don't have a great history.
Bill Shorten running, that running video of Bill Shorten.
I got an exercise science background and his gait is a biomechanical abomination.
Oh, it's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
You got ScoMo bowling some kid over, and then you've got John Howard with his leg spin. Like, you could just... Don't play sport, Prime Ministers.
Don't try. Don't swim. Don't do anything.
Especially in your big Doc Martens or Julius Marlowe's or whatever they might be. You've got to wear the appropriate footwear. Couple of other things. Track ratings for me. It was big last Friday and Saturday with the Carnival. They're going in the lay-bin. You've got to get them right. All tracks are different. Tracks are coming up. Sydney have been notoriously wrong for some time. Metro Sydney as well. You've got Rose Hill, comes up heavy 8 and races like a 6 or a 5. Scone looked bad Scone on Friday and Saturday, but the Times suggested otherwise. They posted a heavy 8 and Times said it was a good 4 or a soft 5. What did you make of that?
Yeah, there was plenty of kickback and beaten margins suggested it wasn't a good track, but then the Times was showing up. Yeah. It's interesting that they're going the other way, because registering a heavy track that's racing like a good isn't great for turnover as well. So,
and New South Wales has been doing that a lot recently. The Times suggests that they're racing on better tracks than they're actually running, which is weird. Maybe they're doing it so they can improve the tracks throughout the day and say how good are our tracks drying. I don't know, but it's a good point. We had 63 scratchings last Saturday at Scone, so
that's
huge.
Good. That's good for a Sydney Metro mate, actually. That was pretty good.
Not bad.
Only 30 Waller runners were scratched as well.
You know the championships are over when that's happening. I wanted to talk about Shelby 66 and talk about him running every week, but I might let that go through to the keeper.
I thought you were going to... are you a bit scared of what I was going to come back at? Because I was going to say...
You did
so
say
you're putting Danny
Williams
in there. Who else is going in there? Like a litter of puppies, Bambi, Snow White, like... Put them all in there, mate.
Yeah, mate. It's too good. Yeah, you said you're an angry man, so I thought I'd back away from that one. But well done. Let's get to some racing. Obviously, we're talking about favourites. We'll head to Morphettville. We'll head to Doomben. We debate the favourites, whether we're backing or laying them. We head to race 4 at Morphettville. But let's talk about the track. It's good 4, Morphettville. The rail, 5 metres, out 5 metres from the winning post. 3 metres, 1800 to 1200. So... rail outs from last week. Interesting to see how the track plays. 20 degrees, partly cloudy. Should be a really nice track. But let's head to race 4, 2-year-old race to kick off. See You in Heaven's a short price favourite, Dave. And I don't know why you're keen to lay her, but you are.
Yeah, I'm going to go against her. Look, she regressed her rating slightly last start. She got to 1,200 metres for the first time. And if you have a look at her last 2 wins, you'll see that she's sort of built her momentum in the 3-wide line. She'll be able to improve her position when she is seen fit and when Jake is seen fit as well. And I just think barrier 1 is a little bit of a negative this week, because if she's 1 pair back, okay, she's almost certain to get cross by H2O.
Yep.
That's some quality H2O. But if she's 2 pairs back, I feel that's a major issue. And I'm just not sure if she's going to be able to build those revs like other weeks. And, you know, it's a 2-year-old race, and as you know, they can all jump out of the ground and improve their rating.
Yep.
So I can't quite pinpoint who I'd back to beat her, but that's the beauty of having a lay bet, isn't it? So I can
Spot on.
I can lay her and hope she regresses again and find some bad luck.
She's about $1.75 at the corporates, $1.85 on Betfair. You could probably lay her about the $2.20. As you said, that is the beauty of laying horses. You just have the field against the short price favourite there, See You in Heaven. She's hard to fault, mate. And you mentioned H2O. You got stitched up with the water on the table. You're not meant to drink that, mate, by the way.
Yeah,
it's just a prop.
It tastes mouldy.
It's been sitting there for 4 weeks, but that's all right, as long as you don't cark it up during the show. See You in Heaven. She's hard to fault. She's won 3 from 4. She's done it in style. She beat H2O, who came out and won comfortably last start. She ran the third fastest 400 metres of the day last start. Start price, she ran the fastest 800 and 600 of the entire day. That's impressive stats for a 2-year-old. Agree, barrier 1 might not be ideal, but I just think she settles behind the speed. H2O crosses and she settles behind the speed, and she'll prove too strong late. I can see why she's favourite, and I'm happy to be with her. Let's get to race 5, the listed race, 2,015 metres, if you don't mind, Dave. And Foxy Frida is the favourite at $3.20, about $3.30, $3.40 Betfair. You can lay her at about that $4, $4.20 mark at the moment. You can go first here, mate. Dave, what you keen to back her?
Yeah, I am. And they love some weird distances in Adelaide. There's often like 2,043 and some weird distances, and always that extra metre
cost you
is against me. But Foxy Frida, I think that extra 15 metres is for her because she's a back marker.
Yep.
If you have a look at the lead-up run over 1,600 metres, she was held up, and then burst clear, and her work through the line was excellent. She gets a 3.5 kilo swing off Silent Sovereign for that, and she's only been tested once at 2,000 metres. It was a hot Ballarat Cup won by Zaydani, and she was beaten by the barrier there. I know she gets back, but she got way back from a wide barrier, and she savaged the line. And I think after the first few in the market, this race really falls off the cliff, and I think she can just blouse them and pick a line through and hit the line and win the race, Foxy Frida.
Yep, that's all fair. I can see what happened last start to her happening again. She's drawn barrier 4 here. She's drawn inside, slowly run race. I think there's Deny Knowledge looks the only leader here, mate. I can see it being a slowly run race. She's got Converging drawn barrier 2, Comfort Girl drawn barrier 1. They're at 150s and 100 to 1. They'll be tiring late. She's got to get around them somehow. If you're keen to back her, I'll be doing so in the run. She'll get back from that barrier. As she does, she'll trade better than the 3.30 on Betfair in the run. So you can have a play in run and back her there. But yeah, she'll just need a lot of luck from that barrier. I don't like backing back markers full stop, but that's why I would be laying Foxy Frida there. You can back her in the run. She's obviously got a big chance if she gets breaks at the right time. She's got that weight swing, but on Silent Sovereign, Silent Sovereign made a really long, sustained run there too. Can't be undersold. Whereas Foxy Frida got the break. Well, if she got the break, she probably wins, but she had that suck run and didn't really go around too many horses. But yep, I think you'll get better in the run. I'll be laying her at that price and maybe backing her in play and making the difference, something like that, mate.
Yeah, agree with that.
Let's get to the SA Fillies Classic, 3-year-old Fillies 2,500 metre race. Do Sir is the favourite, another filly. And who wants to go first? I'll go first here. I'm laying her. She's $3.50 to back, about that $4.50 to lay at the moment on Betfair, mates. And I'm not sure where she's at the moment. I thought she had every chance last start. She mapped perfectly. She had a perfect run in transit. 2,500 metres might suit her. She's run well over the distance before. Barrier 18, where does she get to? Do they roll forward? Do they go back? What do you reckon?
Yeah, well, she'll come in 4 with scratchings. There's 4 emergencies, and they're all drawn inside of her. So she'll be from 14. I think they'll press the button and try and go forward and try and get a spot. Usually the stable drag them back, but I think she's hard fit. And if you have a look at the run in the Oaks, they did try and find a spot. And you mentioned she had every chance there, which I agree. I just thought she acted quite dour.
Yeah.
I thought she was still quite strong through the line, and she's a bit of a pattern horse. If you look at 5th up last prep in the VRC Oaks, that was her peak career run, and that was 2,000 to 2,500 metres. She gets the identical setup with more miles in the legs. So I wouldn't be keen to be against her.
Do you think that's a good form race, the VRC Oaks?
No.
From last year? So
I don't.
That's a query for me.
Yeah.
And what's she actually done, this horse, to entitle her to be 3.30 favourite? She's won a Class 1 at Ballarat on a heavy track. That's her win. Like, She's got ordinary figures. She maps awkwardly here. I'm keen to take her on at that $3.50, $4 mark, mate. But you can have her. Anything else you want to say to be with her?
No, that's fine, mate. Just don't make it too personal.
We might have a stake on it or something. See how we go. Dallas there. Now, this is a fascinating horse to talk about in the Group 3 Lee Stakes, over 1,600 metres. I'll let you go first here. It's pretty easy to make a case to lay him. I'm sure you can do so strongly. He's about that $3 mark. He's a good horse, but you're keen to be against Dallas then?
Oh, I think on the run sheet today, this is the most fascinating horse to talk about because he's so easy to make a case for either way. You talk about him being back in class. This is a horse that was third to Very Elegant and a David and Queen Elizabeth. Like, this is a proper horse, but he's really well in as well at set weights and penalties. So, but what's against him?
You've got to lay him, mate.
Yeah, what's against him is he hasn't won in 750 odd days, and he's here off 6 weeks. He had a trial between runs. I thought it was average.
Yep.
He saw the whip after the post, and he didn't really quicken. It was very dour, and for a horse coming back from 2,000 metres, I don't like to see that unless they're going to be really scooting along. And there is speed drawn underneath him. I think he maps really awkwardly as well. And this just, to me, it reeks of a bit of an afterthought after a really busy autumn campaign. And he's got a lot of miles in the legs on very slow tracks. Now he gets to a good track. Is he going to be sharp enough? That's my query.
All good points, and you've worried me there. I've got to make a case for him. Now, first of all, I can't believe this horse is only 5 years old. Feels like he's 8. It feels like he's 5.
I thought he was a grandpa. I thought he was like up there with Flowmeter.
I can't believe it. He's been running around since he was 2, since 2019, but it feels like he's 7 or 8. It's amazing.
He's got a bit of war horse about him. That's the look he's got. Yeah.
And he hasn't won for 750 odd days. For a 5-year-old, that's a long time. So he hasn't won since he was 3. His last win was here at Morphettville as a 3-year-old. His record at the track is phenomenal, mates. He's got 4 from 6 at his home track. He's trained on track. He's yet to miss a quinella from his home track runs. As you said, his form is outstanding without winning. Now, there's no very elegance here. Go through his form. Since he won as a 3-year-old, he's been beaten, ran second to Russian Camelot. He's run second to Behemoth, ran third in a Group 1 Doncaster behind Cascadian Ice Bath, third in a Queen Elizabeth, only beaten 0.7 of a length behind a Dave Very Elegant, fourth in a Turnbull, beaten by Very Elegant by 0.4 of a length, if you don't mind, third in an Epsom, third in another Doncaster, fourth in a Queen Elizabeth. There's no Daves here, that's for sure.
But has he beaten one more Jack?
Correct. Well,
the last horse he beat here, though, was the Moonlight Gambler. So we talk about VRC Oaks form stacking up. Well, no offence there, but that hasn't quite stacked up since either, has it? But he's gone on with that, as you mentioned. That's
very true. He's stats might say, and on paper it might say he's a better horse on wet or rain-affected tracks. But he ran a really good race in All-Star Mile on a good 4. Spring Stakes in a soft 5, he ran well. He ran second in that. Fourth in a Group 1 Turnbull, beaten 0.4 of a length on a good track as well at Flemington, which drones
What's
really
the common denominator here, mate?
He doesn't win?
Beaten, yeah.
But he runs well. He's a good horse. I can see why he's favourite. There's no Daves, no very elegance here. He's well off at the weights. He just needs to get get his head down at the right time. Are you a believer of non-winning horses?
I am. Yeah. I think that every horse can find their right race, but I think if you're in the camp of horses just run that race and they either win or lose, I think you got your head in the sand because they're individuals.
Yep.
They've got personality. Some don't like being in certain scenarios. They're pack animals. Some don't like running past the leader. And I think the stats marry up with that theory as well, that there's horses that are just genuinely non-winners.
I agree 100%. And like Trekking's one for me. He used to be a real line chaser. Now I think he's more of a pack chaser. He just doesn't like going past horses. He's not savaging the line. Horses, as you said, they are pack animals and they're herd animals. They run in packs, and some just don't like being in front. And that's the nature of it. I think you can find value with these non-winners if they're still trying and still actually attacking the line, but just finding one or two better and running really well. And as you said, each horse has a race that sets up perfectly for them. Group 1 Goodwood. We could talk about this race for a very long time. In the boat, questionable. I think he's out officially.
I think he's in the boat back to the stables.
Yeah, amazing. So that's put a bit of an interesting take on the Goodwood now. The favourite is Extreme Warrior, $4.60 before in the boat came out. It was about $5.50 on Betfair before in the boat came out. So there will be deductions. You'll be all over them. He'll be seen.
I'd be waiting for him to come out because I think he'll still just hover around that same price.
Yeah. You might be right. Now, in the boat was drawn 20, put the pace in the race. Really interesting setup. You're with the favourite here, Extreme Warrior, and I can't wait to hear your debate and what your thoughts on the race are, mate.
Yeah, I do like him, and as you mentioned, In the Boat comes out, but he comes out, you still look at the speed map and you go, well, there's speed on speed. It's drawn in and out, it's drawn middle, it's everywhere. So it's going to be fast run, and this is a cracking edition of the Goodwood if we compare it to past years as well. I'm really looking forward to this race, and Extreme Warrior is one of those reasons. I thought he did enough fresh. He sat outside the leader. I think he's probably going to be a better horse with some cover, which he will most certainly get today. And you look at his breeding, he's a colt. He's from Extreme Choice, who's not spitting him out as regularly as other ones. So this is a big race that they've aimed right up at. He's had a beautiful trial between runs. He went past Lombardo in the blinkers, ridden out. He went past Star Patrol, who's a good 3-year-old favourite at Flemington. I think he's just aimed right up at this. I think you look at his last prep as well. He won a maiden at Echuca by 4 or 5 lengths. Then he's gone to Caulfield and run a figure that just wins this race virtually 10 out of 10 times. Can he repeat that? Remains to be seen. But if he follows that pattern of peaking second up, which they're trying to get him to do, he started favourite in a Coolmore off the back of that run, pulled up with a slow recovery. But I think if we look at what he's going to do on the Exchange late, we've got to look at, well, what's his map like? He's going to get a lovely run in behind the speed.
I think he does get a good run. He's drawn 13, but I think he does map really
He gets
nicely.
a good run. He's got Jamie Carr on board, Group 1 jockey. That's a jockey that the market rarely takes a set against. He's in a good camp, and he's got a massive dominant figure that comes at this stage in his preparation. So I think if you're looking to back him, he's going to keep shortening.
You reckon?
In that last half hour.
And he has shortened throughout the week as well, which is a good sign. Positive lead. You've got to respect that money. Another positive for him, in the last 20 years, only 4 winners haven't been trained in Victoria in the Goodwood. So Trekking and Savatoux XL, the 2 recently, which is an interesting stat. The 1,200 metre start, similar to Caulfield in a way, kind of the dog leg start from the end of the chute there.
It's a beauty.
It is a good start. It'll be a good race. Obviously, in the boat coming out changes the pace of the race. He drew wide. It probably helps the likes of Bo Rosser, Lombardo, who can work across from their wide barriers. They're drawing 19 and 21. You think Acer and Savatoux XL lead? Is that how you're seeing the race?
Yeah, most certainly, mate. Can I just touch on another horse here as well?
We talk about before I lay your
we'll talk
tip
about that map as well. I think the Astrologist is the map horse, and he is really trying his guts out. Under 60 kilos last start at Caulfield, very fast race. He's another one I'd like to have on side with Extreme Warrior.
He does meet Regards Marie and Lombardo better at the weights for that
4
close-up
kilos
finish.
Yep.
There you go. So you're having something on the Astrologist as well?
As well, yes.
There you go. Well, I'm laying Extreme Warrior. 3-year-olds have got an awful record against older horses in Metro Melbourne and Sydney particularly. I know he beat the older horses last start. He's only one of a couple that have done it. Mr. Mozart was one of them. I've forgotten the other one off the top of my head, but only a couple have beaten the older horses, which is an interesting stat, and there's been some really good horses try. So talking about the top echelon 3-year-olds.
Home Affairs, maybe.
Home Affairs. There's been some really good ones. Pulele, all of those that have tried and haven't beaten the older horses. I'm just not convinced it's the right form either. Like, this is a big step up. He had every possible chance. They went slowly at Caulfield. He settled on speed. The race set up perfectly for him first up for mine. They went slow to the 600 there. He just held on to win. He beat It's Our Time and Curran. I don't think that's Group 1 Goodwood form, to be honest. I can see he maps well. He's got the right connections. He's got upside, but I just think he's too short here. I was really keen in the boat, but he comes out, which has made me less keen to lay Extreme Warrior. But I think that the right form might be that Behemoth, the Inferno, Savatoux XL, Free of Debt race, the Group 3 Mackay Stakes.
That's interesting you say that, because when I looked at that race, I thought, okay, well, this race has been won by Free of Debt.
Yeah.
What price is Free of Debt to win a Goodwood? Fair income. How's ASAR going?
Exactly right. Now, I concede that. Free of Debt and he took me out of the quaddie that day, and it wasn't good.
So you weren't exactly Free of Debt.
I'm not his greatest fan, but he had absolute PR that day. It was a day that you couldn't make ground out wide. It was fence leaderish day. Behemoth was slowly away, warmed up late, ran really good splits. The other one, the Inferno, ran fantastic splits as well. He ran the fastest 8 and 600 of that race, and to do that on that day with this grand final in mind. I think they were both really good runs. So I think I've already backed the Inferno at a nice price, so I'm cheering him on. Fingers crossed he can run well here, but he might need luck from that barrier. But yeah, I'm just with that 3-odd record, I'm keen to take Extreme Warrior on at the price. Now, mate, we've got no weekly wash-up this week. We will head to Doomben, though, and that's the way we are doing it. Let's get to Doomben, and it's all about the weather here, mate. Heavy 8 at the moment as we record. 25 to 35 millimetres forecast on the day. When it comes on Saturday, who knows if they even get through the meeting, to be honest, mate.
Yeah,
might be in jeopardy.
There's been a few times where Doomben has been called off mid-meet because the visibility becomes an issue.
Correct.
Yeah.
When there's a Doomben Cup and good money on the line, it makes it the jockeys always try a bit harder and don't get called off as easy when there's good money on.
Cold.
No, I can see it's fine. Yeah. Let's head to Doomben. We'll touch on races 5, 6, 7, 8, and the first one is April Rain. Now, you've got an easy job, I think, here in laying April Rain. It's a Group 3 over 1,600 metres. You're against her, $3.70 at the moment. I think she'll continue to drift, $4 on Betfair. You can lay her at $5.20. Someone's asked for that price. Why are you against her, mate?
Well, as you mentioned, I think she's an almost certain drifter and an absolute false favourite. If you look at her draw today, barrier 1, that's a major negative. She was slow away last start at the Gold Coast, and she had every chance. She was 3 wide without any covers, but they ran slowly. She was home in race fastest splits, but they just didn't go that fast.
Yep.
And she found the fast lane as well. That's where things were running on that particular day. So I think barrier 1, she's certainly going to be at least 3 pairs back on the fence. She's going to be cluttered up. She's a big striding mare. She's a mare that loves room. She's also yet to be tested at anything 1,400 plus. This is her first go at 1,600. She's against season 1,600 metre mares, and she's $3-4. So I think she certainly drifts, and she's actually priced off a peak run, which came in a 78.
Yep.
In an off-season Saturday race in Sydney. So I think she drifts at the current quote. I'd be very happy to lay her.
I agree with you, mate. I can't have her at the price, so I've got to make a case for her. She meets Xenifer better at the weights for that, 0.7 length defeat last start. There's just not many horses going that well in this race that I can confidently stamp to beat her. That's probably why she's favourite. As you said, she's rated on her peak. Her peak performance is good enough to win this. Wet track, genuine heavy 9, heavy 10, from that barrier up to 1,600 metres is a definite negative. I think she'll continue to drift. It's just hard to find a horse to beat her. Like, Yamazaki's a better horse on top of the ground, in my opinion. Nudge is probably a big track horse. Might be better out off the top, off a heavy as well. All her good forms on good tracks. So it's just hard to find a horse to confidently beat her. It's not much of a race, mate.
I absolutely agree. When I looked down the line, I was thinking, well, who's going to beat her? But then I just looked at the way she set up, and I thought, well, something will.
That's the beauty of Betfair. You can lay her and have the field going in.
Spot on.
Yep. So I think we're both kind of keen to lay April Rain there, but can probably see why she's favourite, but I think she'll continue to drift. Buffalo River is the favourite in the BRC Sprint, the Group 3, 1350. Now, this is another really interesting horse. Good one to debate. Now, I'll go first here. $5.20 on Betfair, $6 to lay Buffalo River. I wouldn't be laying him at $6. He's got good racing pattern. He'll roll forward. He's an absolute wet tracker. His last win at Caulfield came on a quick backup with conditions like this that really suited him. It was the right race for him. I think he gets favours today. There's only a couple of horses, Taxu and him, that'll roll forward. They'll be in the right position. He might trade shorter in the run. So you could back him and lay him in the run potentially if he finds the right spot. I'm not too keen to back him, but he's $5, $5.50 favourite. Like he's a pretty hard horse to back given his racing pattern, and Doomben does tend to, especially when wet, tends to suit those horses up on the fence, up on speed. But I'm not going to jump out of trees to back him, but you're against him?
Yeah, I'm not going to jump out of trees to lay him as well, because as you mentioned, you look at horses to lay, well, on paces win the majority of races. So you're looking at a horse that goes forward and that likes wet tracks. I wouldn't be stepping into $6 to lay him. Maybe he shortens late and you can put a better price up or a shorter price up and less liability late. I just think he's priced on his wet track stats as well. Like, he clearly relishes some give. But I also query if he goes clockwise. He's had 3 runs in Sydney and they've all been extremely underwhelming. He's been in the market for him as well. He ran well first up. He set a strong tempo at Sandown. He's bloused late by a fitter one, so he's bound to be improved. But I am not sure if he gets total control, and he is a little bit of a head case. He even took off one day at Flemington. He took off on Jamie Carr, who gets virtually
best hands
everything
in the business.
to come back underneath her.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have the pattern that I'm popping my hand up and going, yeah, I'm going to step in and lay him. But I don't think he's a horse that I'd be very happy to back either.
How well is he going? I know he ran all right last start, but that day that he won at Caulfield, he had everything possible to suit.
7-day backup.
Correct.
We spoke before. If he didn't win that race, he's fair he could never win a race again.
Yeah. Agreed. So he's a fascinating horse. His favourite. He might drift, but might be shorter in run there, Buffalo River, with his racing pattern. Now let's get to the Group 1 Doomben Cup, 2,000 metres, and I've got to make a case to lay $1.40 favourite here in Zaki, but I want to hear why you're with him. A pretty easy case, surely.
It's an easy case. It's another one of those things where, you know, if I looked at his Gold Coast run, he was $1.75, $1.80 they put up, and bang, straight away. That's a great price because, you know, you price him $1.28. I think in this race, I think $1.40 is his true price. So it's not something I'm keen to step into. But, you know, he was a month between runs last start on the Gold Coast, back from 2,000 metres to 1,800. And it was a trial for this. It was just workmanlike. He got it done. He went to the front. He didn't go as slowly as it looked to the eye. And he was a little bit soft late. But his best just completely spaces these. And his best came at this track, albeit that was on a good track. One thing I would say is I would be, you know, that 30 mils comes race day, this becomes bottomless.
Yep.
I would be pretty wary of Polly Gray because if that comes, you know, she was taking ground off him late last start and she's an absolute swimmer. She's a mudlark, but I can't make a case to be laying him because he's just a superstar. I think he's the best.
Where does he sit in the best horses in Australia?
I'm of the opinion he's the best 2,000 metre weight for age horse in Australia. I know he got beaten in the championships. Well, Very Elegant, I don't think a 2,000 metre horse anymore.
Yeah.
That's why she's on the ship, mate.
Correct. Correct. We could have talked about that. But, he's got to be in the top 2 or 3 horses in the country.
Yeah.
Obviously, our sprinters are fantastic. But what Annabelle's done with Zaki has been superb since coming to Australia. I'm still filthy. I jumped on in the Doncaster at $126. And he ran an amazing race first start in Australia and was unlucky. Drew the car
park. Who won that one again?
I can't remember. Was it Cascadian?
No, it was Cascadian.
Yeah, Cascadian. Oh, here he is. I think I actually backed Cascadian.
Nice one. We're both smart.
Correct. Zaki, heavy 10 potentially this time of day. Maybe a reason why I could lay him. He's been up for some time as well. He's been going around for a long time, which is another little query. I would have liked to have seen him beat Polly Gray a bit better last start. But you come into this race and he makes largely the same horses again, and he was probably going away from a little bit. I know Polly Gray probably took some ground off him late, but you make a good point. Polly Gray's one of the best wet trackers in the country. Loves it wet. So if we're on a heavy 10, Zaki might drift. The money might come for Polly Gray to measure up and go past him. The other one's Great House, who brings different form into this. I thought his run last start was really good. Might be the fly on the orbit, might be charging late, doesn't mind the wet tracks, but $1.40. I mean, I think that's about the right price for him.
Yeah.
Who knows what happens on the day?
Mate, I know he would have scared a few horses off, most certainly, but if he's not in this race, oh boy, that is not the best Group 1 I've ever seen, is it? Yeah. At weight for age.
I wonder who it did scare off. That's true. It's not a good race. Finish off race 8 at Doomben, the Group 2, the Roses, 2,000 metres. Barb Raider is a favourite. It might be pretty wet come this day. And she's 420 on the corporates, about that average odds, 450 on Betfair. You can lay her about that 550 mark. You can go first again, mate. Barb Raider, you with her or not? You backing her?
I'm not keen to lay her. I can make an argument as to why you back her, but I can in particular make an argument as to why you should wait and back her late on the exchange because you'll probably get a better price. And she was beaten by one with a softer run. Glenna Hope just had a perfect run in that Oaks last start, and Barb Raider sort of faced the breeze, but she was tough as well. And in these conditions, you need to be tough, and she's got the miles in the legs, but one thing that's against her, if you look at her figures and her past performances, she's won on a soft 5, but anything soft 6 plus, she hasn't excelled at. And her fail on a heavy 10 in Sydney was noted as why she failed, as not handling the conditions. So if this rain comes, I think she almost certainly drifts. And if you want to back the class horse in the race, it's her, and you'll get a better price late.
Yep. Yep, I can see. I'm happy to be against her at the price, but she's a 99 handicap rating, superbly off at the set weights. The next best is Biscayne Bay with 83. So she's got 16 handicap points higher than Biscayne Bay, carries level weights. I mean, she's carrying the same weights as Aravine, who's 66, Royal Ballet, who's 61 rated. Like, she's extremely well off at the weight. She's a very good horse, but the wet track's got to be a huge concern. Race 8 on the program is going to be complete mud. If she doesn't get through it, if she couldn't get through the heavy 10, they used it as an excuse two back. Can't come into her at that price. So as you said, I think she'll drift. And that's us done for the show, mate. Come at me with your best bets. Time to shine, Salts. Best bets, best lays. What have you got for us?
I am going to Flemington, HQ, for my best bet, mate.
Yep.
Flemington race 3, number 1, Blushing Tycoon. I thought he was very good two-back, over 1,600 metres. He sort of coursed deep, made an early move and stuck on really well. I thought, geez, that's a beauty of a run to get to 2,000 metres. But he got to 2,000 metres last start and he might have finished 5th, but I tell you what, he faced the breeze. He sat outside the leader in a very fast-run race, and I thought his effort to stick on was outstanding. He does get a 2 kilo penalty against some of those same horses, but have a look at his map today. He's drawn barrier 1. I think without doubt they send him forward, and having that run at 2,000 metres under his belt is certainly going to take him a long way fitness-wise. And it was a hard day to lead last week at Flemington with the rail 2 metres. Comes out to 6, and most importantly there was a northerly last week, and there's absolutely no breeze on Saturday. So I think he gets every chance. It's going to be super hard to run down.
I agree with you, mate. I've got him as one of my better bets on the program, race 3 number 1 as well, Blushing Tycoon. I think he rolls forward from inside barrier. That's a little query, barrier 1. He'll just have to dig up a little bit. But like Natural Mystique out wide's the only other speed in the race. I think Blushing Tycoon is rock hard fit. As you said, they went real fast in that race last start and he stuck on really well. I think he's clearly the horse to beat there, Blushing Tycoon, race 3 number 1. Rangi Toa is my other best, race 3 number 2 at Rose Hill. This horse caught the eye at the trials. It was a really weird market. I had something on at 15s. There were some deductions, shortened a lot and then drifted a bit late, which shows me there's probably improvement to come from the yard. Loves the distance. I think he's a really nice horse, the former New Zealander, Rangi Toa as my other bet. No reason to jump off about that $2.50 mark. You got a lay for us?
I do, mate. Rose Hill race 6. It's a benchmark 78 over the 1800, and I'm going to lay Dynasties here. She's a 3-year-old filly. She steps up to open age out of a 3-year-old race last start and carries 7.5 kilos above the minimum. For that, it is a bit of a class rise if you have a look at it on paper. And she won okay last start at the Gold Coast, but she found that fast going, and I think she's absolutely a certainty to be buried back on the rail from barrier 2. She's always slow away. Every single start she's slow away, and she's a bit of a big strider, needs some room, and I think she's way too short at this current quote, and I think she certainly drifts late, and she's a horse that I'm going to be happy to be against on Saturday.
Very good. Race 6 there, Dynasties at Rose Hill, your lay of the day. I could lay a few horses. You made a great case to lay April Rain, and I will be against her. Race 5 at Doomben, race 5, number 6, April Rain, barrier 1, as you said, threw back the fence earlier in the show. Maps awfully. If we get a heavy 10, heavy 9, I don't think she's a genuine wet tracker. She's a big striding, heavy set kind of horse. So she's got ability, but I'm just not sure she's flying at the moment, April Rain. My other one, Douceur, comes into barrier 14, as you said. Just maps real tricky. I thought had every chance last start. I concede that the pattern says she ran well, but I think she'll find a couple of others better than her. Race 6, number 1, Douceur. She hasn't really done much to warrant her being so short. I think she'll drift, and I'm happy to lay those two. Anything else, mate?
No, mate. It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
You'll be back again for a couple of weeks at least, and you've been an absolute star. Your first show.
Thanks, mate.
How'd you find it?
Yeah, it was really good. The coffee was a really good temperature as well.
Should have put you in
really good.
Should have put you in the lab in ordering coffees, then complaining. You specifically said hot coffee, then you said it was too hot when you got it.
Hey, when Matthew McConaughey's on set, you reckon he gets his own coffee? I don't think so, mate. I watched How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days last night, so I'm really feeling real romantic and Matthew McConaughey like.
Are you single?
I am, yeah.
Oh, there you go, girls.
I'm just waiting for my Kate Hudson to come along.
Gee, you've gone to another level. We're going to wrap it up. Mate, you've been a star. Can't wait to the next 2 shows with you. Thanks very much for joining us. We'll be back to do it again next week on Layback with Betfair.
Gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-858-858.